we do not realize the influence we have on each other. This is about impacting our lives by exposing ourselves to the influence or influences that we get from around us. When we are swimming in the ocean, when we do see animals, especially when you're, surrounded by fish and other wildlife inside the water, swimming about, or when you're going even deeper into the ocean, into the water, into the sea, it's a humbling experience because suddenly you realize, especially if you're using a tank or holding your breath to go down, free dive for example, and you're seeing these different environments with your eyes, suddenly you really take note of the responsibility that you have in making sure that you're not going to let your air be gone. What I mean by that is you become very responsible for what the air quality of your tank is and how much you're breathing in, how much you're gulping down air, or how well you're exhaling, or how often, or if hopefully you're not, let's say you're still able to hold it until you come up in case of, let's say, snorkeling or freediving. Basically, it's very dangerous, you notice, to be irresponsible. But aside from that, you also witness a different world down there. You witness how your concerns and worries just fall apart. The worries that you had on the surface, at sea level, on the terrain, on the ground, outside, upstairs, over there, above the seawater, sea level. It's a humbling experience. This happened to me several decades ago when I first did scuba diving. When I was learning how to scuba dive and get my certifications, and it was so humbling because at first I was very much panicking because I had tremendous claustrophobia since I was a child. That was one of the ways that I wanted to conquer it. But this is about fear and how to tackle it, how to address it. But I want to address this question by pointing out the responsibility we have on the type of influences that we put ourselves in contact with or expose ourselves to. The worries we carry will lower our immune system, will make us susceptible. It will make us lose our balance, just like a person who panics. Whether you're on the plane, you panic. Whether you're under the water, you panic. Suddenly your breathing is going to be affected. You're not going to breathe. You're going to hold your breath or do shallow breathing or hyperventilate. Or hypo, meaning you have hypoxia, not enough oxygen reaching the brain. Well, what happens when you have hypo-love? Instead of hypoxia, you have hypo, meaning not enough of love reaching you. What can we do then when, as a child, you were not given attention, love, affection, care? Someone didn't look at you, your caretakers, your loved ones, supposed loved ones, when they did not give you the nourishing energy of care. Well, that will affect the child's immune system. Their hormonal system will be affected. How they deal with stress will be affected. How they develop, if they develop trust soon enough, that will also be affected. In essence, the child, the infant, will grow up being more susceptible to various illnesses, sicknesses. And I'm just talking about the physical now. I mentioned trust. In order for us to be living as happy individuals, healthy individuals, we need to have all the different aspects of, or facets of the diamond being addressed. That means emotionally you need to be protected, cared for, loved. Physically the same thing. The child that has not received enough hugs, when they've done something wrong, the adults around them, instead of scolding them, yelling at them, punishing them, hitting them, here and there they could squeeze in a gentle, caring smile. Here and then they could say, "It's okay, it's okay. Next time don't do it. Come here, let me give you a hug." Instead of yelling at the child because they've fallen, for example. So this way you will help strengthen, even if the child for some or other reasons didn't have a healthy body to begin with. Let's say there's some lack in some nutrition, or they lacked essential vitamins or something like that, whatever. So this could ameliorate, this could address the love that they're getting, can address and start the healing process. Because this child will grow up and be more open, understanding towards oneself, and by becoming like that towards oneself, they can also open up to the world around them. Now, the fish that I was swimming with underwater taught me this. Because when I did have the panic attack underwater, I looked at these lovely orange, I think they're called Moorish fish, or orange-black, different types of fish that it almost looked like they were looking at me. Why is this huge human so perplexed? Look at us. We're okay. We're swimming. We're not worried about breathing. So it allowed me to ease up on the need for certainty with every move. So all these things allow us to be okay with yourself as long as you are making sure that you're not exposing yourself to more and more anxiety. Now, exposing. The biggest source of anxiety is the mind. This is where we have to practice restraint of whatever thoughts that come in, concepts, perceptions. Those are the things that people have panic attack because of. the environment around us. So the influences I was mentioning, they've done studies and looked at carefully at animals, especially animals that have echolocation abilities, such as dolphins and sperm whales, and they've discovered how they do these clicking sounds. They send these powerful clicks, and they'll pick up, signals. They will be able to draw a three-dimensional image of what's there, even all the way down to like 6 miles away. And divers, for example, have also witnessed themselves as the clicking is going on with these huge animals, including dolphins. They feel the vibration going through them. Some people have described their experiences as meditative. Some people start crying underwater because of so much love they feel while interacting with other animals, like dolphins. Their worries drift away. People who have had PTSD, swimming with dolphins or even just being in the water allows them to relinquish the level of stress. Why though? What's the secret ingredient here? There's an element of trust that is being brought in to the mix. You are relinquishing your sense of false control. You're in the water. You're trusting the gentle waves to brush up against you, to be able to be more soft with yourself. Now, how much of your time, how often rather, can you be able to remind yourself of this? What if you don't have access to the ocean, for example? Does that mean that you won't be able to? Of course not. For this, we can apply the simple technique of Sati and Sampajanya. If you notice a meditator walking mindfully, lifting one foot, lifting the heel, lifting the foot, traveling across, gently placing it down, lifting the heel of the other foot, or how you reach over to pick up a book or lean down and do something, let's say. Sweep the floor, fix your bed. These are all opportunities to feel what that diver was feeling. Because whether you are underwater or above it, you're still surrounded by molecules. Let's just use, science, physics here. When you are walking on land, you are walking, yes, not through seawater, molecules of seawater, yes, but you are walking nevertheless through air molecules. There's countless amounts of air molecules that you are squeezing yourself through. That's what's also happening when we're speaking, when we're hearing sounds. You don't hear sounds. We don't hear sounds. We actually get triggered. The eardrum, which is the best musical instrument, the eardrum, gets vibrated with the air molecules that come smashing against it. So the pressure that's being built when a person is speaking, or some trigger that's happening, some vibration is taking place somewhere, it triggers, and all you have are these vibrations pushing and pushing and pushing the air molecules into your eardrum. That we can understand, and that might have more of a credibility for us to get it. But for some reason we're unwilling to accept that when we are walking, the same process is taking place. Now the sensitivity is what I'm talking about. Just like the sensitivity of looking at a child growing up and seeing how they are in need of not just their vitamins, not just their nutrients, their food, and having a shelter, something more important: love, attention, which is going to ensure that this child will get sufficient protection, and their immune system will reflect that by the fact that they will not get sick so quickly, to the point where they don't get sick unless something happens, let's say. But the immune system will become vulnerable, open to attacks, if and when there are less and less and less and less of those other ingredients. Now, when we were children, we were more susceptible because we're also in need of the attention from the world. When we grow up as adults, we have more of a say in how we replenish. So this is where we have to pay more attention and give love to ourselves. So Sati, another way of understanding Sati, is just that, to give yourself love. When Lord Buddha talks about giving, becoming mindful to the point where you have full awareness of what you're doing, how you're moving, how you're reacting, how you're responding, sampajanya, there is the presence of love, appreciation for yourself, for the moment, your attitude, as you are moving in time and space. So when you are stretching your arm, when you're scratching, when you're about to smile, when you open and close your eyelids, every time you bring in your Sati, you are touching that moment with love. There's a regal quality to it that you're adding. It's quite remarkable, because now you have become your own mother and father. Every time you add droplets of Sati to your daily, to your moment-to-moment existence, you are giving yourself metta. You are giving yourself true, benevolent, universal loving kindness. These are not just words. And the evidence of that is how you feel after the practice. That's why the time that you spend meditating, ultimately, the number, how much time, the quantitative aspect of the sit, it's not important at all. It might have been a lousy sit, but how did you sit? Was there softness present with your sit? Or when you're walking, doing walking meditation, you might be doing laundry or cleaning the house, doing gardening or doing shopping, but you do it with a little bit more of Sati, more of a presence of full awareness, to the point where people will come and ask you, why are you smiling? You might be at work, you might be driving. You might ask yourself, why am I so, the vernacular is chill? Why? It doesn't matter. There's a softness about you. So in a way, you've just transported yourself with a time machine back into being a child, and you gave yourself so much love and care that you are now untouchable. You are a bundle of metta. You are a bundle of sati. You're healing. You're healing. So the Dhamma is healing. This path of practice is healing. So nothing about it needs to be compulsory. Nothing about it has anything to do with forcing something. There's a gracefulness about your movements. And we have evidence of this throughout the discourses, where the Buddha and the disciples, you see them in those discourses, how they behave, how they move, how they speak. And more importantly, the influences that this had brought about on the people around them. Now, these don't necessarily, they don't have to actually stay in books. Test it out. We need to test them out in our life, in our practice. So strengthen your immune system through your practice of sati. That's how my answer would be to that question.